I spent nearly 5 years on this pavement all day and night. Do you know who comes to see me? Everybody. There was a young man called Ben Griffin. You might have seen him in the Sunday Telegraph this week. SAS soldier. He comes here. He spent a couple of nights with me, this lad. He's a good boy. They wanted him to join them when he left the SAS because he left because of the atrocities that are being committed over there. He wasn't going to be a part of that. So he left the army. He expected to be court-martialed, put in prison, called a coward, thrown out in disgrace. Instead of which, his commanding officer gave him quite a testimonial, as he deserves. He's a good boy. And they said to him, join us, Brian. Join the private security forces. Loads of dosh. Do you know what? Our SAS soldiers, our best soldiers, are leaving the army in Iraq. And they're joining these private security forces. And do you know who they're protecting? The 40,000 thieves. All the ones walking off with Iraq's loot. Do you know it's a feeding frenzy over there? The sharks, they're having their lumps out of the body of Iraq. They're having, and billions have gone missing, billions. People are walking off with fortunes out of that country. And do you know where it's coming from? Out of the mouth of the kids and the people. And they're starving, and they're desperate, and they have nothing. And some people are getting filthy, bloody rich on it. And our soldiers, our SAS, our best soldiers, some of them are joining, and they're protecting the thieves and the murderers. Isn't that nice? Ben wasn't going to do that, though. He wasn't. And there are good men in our army, good people. And they don't like this filthy war. As a sergeant called Dean comes to see me, I heard about you in the officers' mess in Basra, Brian. The respect they have for you over there, the respect. And they said, go and see Brian. If you go to London, go and see Brian. An American comes to see me. He says, I'm going to put you in GI Special, Brian. And every American soldier in Iraq is going to know there's somebody outside the British Parliament there for them. Who am I here for? I'm here for every human being. Did you want to see one soldier coming home in a body bag? One? Only one? Did you? Did you want to see one bombed baby? Do you know how many babies we bombed over there? How many we slaughtered? The Lancet said 100,000 estimate, yeah? 100,000. Very conservative, very careful. They don't exaggerate. Hundreds of thousands have died there. It's the same every bloody time, you know. I went to Cambodia in '89 when Pol Pot was on his way back in. And they were talking about thousands, tens of thousands, maybe as many as 100,000. Then very, very grudgingly, maybe as many as 1 million died in Iraq. Sorry, take two. Cambodia, maybe as many as 1 million died. When I got there, what a journey. Across the world with nothing in my pocket, and I got there before Pol Pot, and they told me there were 9 million people in Cambodia, 4.5 million were dead now. USA murdered 1 million people in Cambodia, as many bombs as the whole of the Second World War. Wallop on this little tiny third world country. Pol Pot the bandit took over when the army had been demolished and destroyed. He exterminated 3.5 million people. The people of Cambodia called Pol Pot Asia's Hitler. They called Khmer Rouge Asia's Nazis. We called Pol Pot a good guy, freedom fighter, part of this coalition. Same in Iraq. Have you heard of Alawi? Have you heard of him? Alawi, the arsehole of Iraq. And do you know what they did to Fallujah? Poison gas. Napalm Mark II. 90,000 homes razed to the ground. How many thousand slaughtered? And the children lying dead in the streets. Their eyelids, their sweet lips, devoured by the cats and dogs. They can't be buried, their little bodies, because their people will be murdered by their liberators. You see, they were liberated from the evil rulers of the city. and they lie there. Cat food, dog food. Who tells me this? Oh, I haven't been to Fallujah. The Americans who were there, they told me this. But I went to Cambodia, you know. Oh, I've been there. If you've been to a war, that was a bad one, that was.
What's your plan now, Brian? How much longer do you expect to be here?
I know the bullshitters. Yeah, I'm listening. I'm finishing off this piece just before I forget it. There's a man called Amaro from Chile. He was a Spanish correspondent for CNN. He comes to see me here and he records me. And he's got a smile growing and growing. He says he's coming back again to record this. And I said, when are you coming? He says, I'm going to come again and again and again. All hours of the day and night for CNN International. He did. And do you know why he was smiling? Because he's been there himself. He knows the bullshitters. He knows the ones who are in front of the cameras for their own egos, for their own careers, their own image. He knows that. He knows somebody who's genuine. Why am I here? For God's sake. I'm here for you. Do you have a child? Do you have a brother? Do you have a sister? Do you have a mother? Do you have a father? Are they precious? Are they precious? Do you love them? And what about our neighbour's brother and sister and baby and child? Are they equally as precious? What about our soldiers who are dying? Do they matter? What about all those slaughtered in Iraq? And that's what it's going to be, folks. Same as Cambodia and the others. Very grudgingly, the number's going to go up and up and up, and millions are going to die. Millions and millions and millions. We've already murdered millions in Iraq, you know. There was 585,000 babies and infants up to the age of 5 dead in a 5-year period. UNESCO, United Nations Students Organisation, they estimated that. Largely as a result of the sanctions and what we've done to those people. We murder the babies. And they didn't count the kids over 5, the old, the weak, the sick, the poor. We've murdered millions of people in that place already. Check out British history. 90 odd years now slaughtering these people. See my neighbour Winston Churchill? My neighbour from hell? He gassed and he bombed and he burned the Kurdish, Arab, Iraqi villages. He did that. He gassed 9,000 of them. He was proud of it. I don't understand the squeamishness about the use of gas, Winston Churchill said. I'm wholeheartedly in favour of using poison gas, Winston Churchill said, against uncivilised native tribes. Winston Churchill said that, and he did that. And he gassed 9,000 people, just like the ones at Al-Ajmi. And when people like me were stood up against that in those days, Winston Churchill said, these people who are against gassing people, that trash should be shot. This is where we're coming from. And we've been bombing and burning and slaughtering them. Oil was discovered in Mesopotamia about 100 years ago now. We've been murdering them ever since. What do you know about Arabia? I'm 57. When I was a boy, having your throat cut in an Eastern bazaar. Brutal, barbaric, bloody people. This was the image of Arabia portrayed to me on our television. Is it the truth? Barbaric? Oh, and they cut people's heads off. Isn't that naughty? Because the British, we don't know about nasty things. Do you remember when people used to cut heads off with his head? Did you notice a little girl down there with the top of her head hacked off with a shard from one of our £1 million cruise missiles? We cut off a little baby girl's head. Look at the baby. Civilised? That's British civilization, is it? When are we going to stop? When are we going to look at your child? When are we going to look at you and look beyond the colour of your skin? Look beyond your religion or your race and love you. And love you. And am I angry? I've been meeting the people of the world here for 5 years, day and night, and their grief, and their torture, and their torment, and their hopelessness. And who cares? Who gives a shit? Who cares? How do you think I feel when I see the people walking by day and night, day and night? And it's going on and on and on. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And what are we doing to stop it? And I speak to Tony Benn and I say, get me on the platform today, Tony. Get me on the platform. And Tony says, Tony loves me. He's been giving me wonderful support. He's been my witness in court and he's spoken for me. He's spoken, is he a good man, Tony Benn? Sound as a bell. And Tony says, other people are involved, Brian, other people decide who speaks. And I said, here am I, the only person in the whole of Britain who can stand outside his own parliament and speak freely without having to get a permit from the police. Brian Haw, the only British citizen, can stand here. Oh, and the Russian man called Alex. He can speak as well, but you can't. Nobody else can. Do you know there's a legal term for that? Do you know what it is? It's bollocks. Is it bollocks? Are you a British citizen? Do you have as much right to speak as I do?
I'm supposed to be a British citizen, but I put a website out that was anti-war, and I get looked at by the US military, so I don't know if I'm British anymore.
Anyway, I'm here to say that everybody has the right to speak.
But I'm shocked, Brian, that you're not allowed to speak on the platform. I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, you haven't been on the platform.
I spoke to Mexico for 14 hours on their radio. 14 hours. Can you imagine, day after day, week after week, 45 minutes. Mexico University Radio. They're given a precious hour each day by the government. Free, don't have to please the advertisers, not censored, and I can speak. And I'm given 45 minutes of their precious hour each day. And they start off this by me crying out, 45 minutes, Mr. Blair. 45 minutes, Mr. Blair. Dodgy dossiers, plagiarized thesis, a 45-minute sexy lie. And for that, all the innocents have to die, and die, and die, and die, and die, and die, and it goes on and on and on. Yes, they love me in Mexico. My ranting is a lady from a man from the Sunday Telegraph. They love my ranting. Do you know why they love me? Because I love them. And I know a bit about the bloody gringos. I know a bit about genocidal Britain as well. Do we know our history, folks? Great Britain, genocidal Britain, which is it? When are we going to become human? When? Anyway, I can speak to Iran for 45 minutes on their television. I'm speaking to 15 million people in Iran. And they came to me and they said, we want to show our people your heart, Brian. And yeah, you can have that. Love your neighbour as yourself. And love your neighbour's child as your own. No matter the colour of their skin, the country they live in, their race or religion. That, Mr. Bush, Mr. Blair, is Christianity. That's humanity. That's sanity. That's the path to peace. You and yours, precious as me and mine. Who's arguing? Well, when are we going to bloody do it? When are we going to do it? When? Yeah, strangely enough, I have people from the world come in here, and I speak to the world, the TV, the news, the media from all over the world. Check my name, Brian Haw, H-A-W, on the website. Do it on the Google search. Yes. I have the universal message, you see. We are human. Are you a human? Am I a human? Are we human? When are we going to start being humane? Humane, eh? Yeah, I want to speak. I want to speak on behalf of all those who can't speak, who are denied a voice. All of my people are denied a voice now. On the 1st of August, there was a demo here. Maybe 200 people. 1st of August last year. This was on the first day of this new law. Serious Organised Crimes Act. Well, they got it right. Serious Organised Criminal Police Act, and they are criminals, and they work for them criminals, and the police attacking the people. That's what they did, attacking the people.
Were you there at the cenotaph when they arrested the lady for reading out the names?
I'll come on to that in a moment. Anne Clancy was here on the 1st of August, old age pension, lovely lady. She's died since. Dragged away in handcuffs by two big thugs. Two big fascist thugs in uniform decided to cuff Grandma, eh? Isn't that nice? It's what you do, isn't it? What was her crime? She was called a serious organised criminal because she wanted to speak. That was her crime. On the 31st of July last year, she had the right to speak. On the 1st of August, the police said, from this day onwards, nobody else can speak, apart from Brian. And Brian can't have his megaphone, because he's disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace! And Brian was arrested on 9th of December last year by this silly little girl, as I called her. I was arrested for breach of the peace. What do you mean breach of the peace? I'm here to make peace. I believe in peace. And this little girl woke me up after 3 hours sleep underneath there, and I crawled under there at 5 o'clock in the morning after all the drunks and the nasty buggers. And there's a sweet girl called Maeve Evans. She was sat on a chair, freezing cold. She come along on a bicycle 2 o'clock in the morning to sit there shivering, this skinny little girl, lovely girl, so I could have a bit of sleep undisturbed. That was the idea, the theory anyway. Instead of which she's got a little police girl in her face at 8 o'clock in the morning, threatening to arrest her. I believe you are a demonstrator. If you are not gone in 5 minutes, I will arrest you. She wasn't demonstrating. Anyway, the policewoman arrested me. So, sort of. And I was front page on the Independent on the 10th of December, Human Rights Day. That was a good result, wasn't it? And inside, yes, Maya Evans was inside as well, and other beautiful people. There were lovely people if you'd have seen the inside 2 pages. My ugly mug on the front page, and inside, these heroes who are standing up here, this person here, a man at Brighton, he was arrested. He has a T-shirt. It says Bush and Blair are war criminals. And the police arrested him under the Terrorism Act. Excuse me, can you see the logic in this? The police should be asking him for more information, sir. You made an allegation, sir. Can you back it up? Oh, yes, indeed. There's all the evidence in the world. Bush and Blair are war criminals. And what does that make me? What does that make us? We live in a democracy, don't we? We have somebody called Mussolini Blair ruling our city, our country, yes? America has Bush, Hitler ruling their city. What does that make us, USA, UK? We have Hitler and Mussolini ruling, and we suffer it to be so, don't we? We suffer it. We allow it. We can go into Afghanistan, slaughter and murder. We can go into Iraq, slaughter and murder. We can go into Iran, slaughter. We can go anywhere. Are you appalled? Are you appalled? Are you horrified of what's going on? When are we going to stop it? Because the reason I'm on this pavement is I'm responsible. Am I responsible? Do I just say fuck Bush and fuck Blair? And that's my little cop-out, my little get-out? Oh no, sir. I voted for Mr. Blair. He betrayed me. So what do I do about it? When he treats my neighbour's kids like that? Have you seen what our war material, depleted uranium munitions, does to the babies? Have you seen? It's made of our nuclear waste. We nuke the babies. Have you seen? We've done that, folks. Do you know how long it lasts for? People say, oh, it'll be better for Iraq in the long run. Do you know the half-life of depleted uranium? 4.5 billion years. The Royal Society says that. How would I know? Am I a scientist? What would I know? But I do respect our best scientists. Beavis and Butthead, Bush and Blair, they've nuked these places until the end of time. And it's all okay, folks, because Saddam's a bastard. That's all right then, isn't it? Check it out. Check it out. We are worse than Hitler. Check it out. What we have done is worse than Hitler could ever do. He didn't have our weapons, did he? Oh, he gassed people. He was a wicked, evil bugger. We know that. My dad was one of the ones who went into Bergen-Belsen, one of the very first to go in there as their saviours. That was my dad. My dad was a sniper in the British Army. What my dad saw in Bergen-Belsen. And my dad gassed himself 20 years later. It's part of the reason I'm here. Yeah, Hitler was an evil bastard. He gassed people. Do you know what we did to Fallujah? Poison gas. Did you hear about that yet? Poison gas. Napalm Mark II. Oh, a new improved version. Better. Works better than the old stuff. The old stuff was what we would call petrol, you know, mixed with polystyrene. Nice stuff. Sort of, hey, I'm an old bastard, I am, and little girls used to have nylon nighties when I was younger, and we stopped that because when there was a fire in the house, the nylon would stick to the skin, wouldn't it, of your poor little kiddie? So we stopped that. Well, polystyrene is intended to stick to the skin, and now it's aeroplane fuel, far more volatile than petrol. I know this beggar here, I know his face. What's your name? I don't know you. Oh no, it was David Icke once upon a time. He looks similar. He was stood the other side of the barrier. Yeah, he was a good lad. Yeah, Napalm Mark II. Sorry? Yeah, I'm about finished, haven't I? When are we going to stop it? When? Yes, my dad was, he saw his Holocaust in Hitler's Germany. I saw my Holocaust in Pol Pot's Cambodia. But don't say Pol Pot, say USA, and say Britain as well, because we had a part to play in that. We were involved in that, you know, behind the scenes. We were.
How much longer are you going to be here, honestly?
I don't know. How much longer can I last? How much longer can these people last? I get fed, I get watered, I've sort of lost my appetite. People are starving. There's 45,000 children starving every single day in the world. Tick, 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 tick. 6,000 children dying of dirty water disease every single day. Tick, tick, tick. 50-odd thousand kids. We're talking about food and drink. We're not talking about rocket science. We're not talking about war and famine and pestilence. We're talking about food and drink. And you know, on the September the 11th, 2001, 3,000 people died as a result of a wicked crime. And on that same day, 50-odd thousand children died as a result of another wicked crime. Did we hear about that? Did it matter? It's a game, isn't it? It's all with your minds, manipulating your minds. We're told what to be interested in, who matters. Who matters? Hey, you matter. Some kid when I was in a pub having a coffee, he gives me a badge and it says, my views are important, this young man gave me. Yes, do right. And so are yours, and so are yours, and so is everybody's. We have to listen to everybody, don't we? And set everybody free to be themselves. Why am I pissed off? I'm called a loose cannon by somebody in the Stop the War to Wes Burton, who's a good American whose military fan was against the war and there's Judy Lynham and West, and they're telling them I'm a loose cannon. What's it about controlling people? Control? I want to set you free to be yourself. I'm me, you're you. We're all different, aren't we? I have my faith, I have my belief. I'm not going to piss on yours, though. I'm not going to disrespect you. And it should be the same all over, shouldn't it? Listen to each other. We all have part of the answer. We all get some things right, some things wrong, don't we? I'm here outside Parliament for the ones who can't speak. Everybody else is denied a voice now. How dare Mr. Blair do that? And the only reason I'm here, and we are here, is to be a voice from the voiceless. 4 o'clock in the morning, a young Muslim girl comes to see me, throws herself in my arms. I was one of the first to know the bombs had started falling on Baghdad. She came with her young man. She was beside herself.